Good evening, folks. Got a little snippet here for you from Gaia. And this gentleman is talking about something that's been on my mind and I've shared and discussed. I think we should give it a listen.
In the beginning, after a great devastation, according to the Sumerian text, the gods came and manifested humans again. And this is a theme that we see repeated many times in many cultures all over the world, that there was a creation of humans, there was a massive flood, and the earth was repopulated. That's reflected in the Babylonian text, in the Hebrew text,
Bible.
in the Egyptian text. They all mention something similar.
So, according to ancient texts, all around the world, at different times, there was some form of devastation, of flooding. Well, what could possibly cause that? Well, let me show you. The first thing is our magnetic poles. Okay, I've been showing you guys that the North Pole and the South Pole are on the move. Our South Pole is no longer in Antarctica, it's in the ocean. Our North Pole, it's taken a hiatus too, going the other direction. Now, there's a couple reasons for our magnetic poles to shift like this. One of those being our galactic sheet. Okay, just as on Earth, we have a torus field that I've shown you guys that we have a North and South Pole, and we have a torus field, an energy field or shield, if you will, that protects the Earth from a lot of cosmic rays and plasma. Well, same thing with our solar system, same thing with the center of our galaxy. It's got these torus energy fields. Okay, so out of the north side we'd get positive, out of the south we'd have negative energies, right? Positive and negative. Well, when we go back and forth right now, we're currently in the north, and we're coming close to the ecliptic of the center of the galaxy. And once we cross that, that can cause our poles to flip. Another thing is this guy, our second sun. And I've been talking about this quite a bit. I've been looking for it. I've seen multiple pictures of it, but there's also multiple planets, and there are lots of things going on up in space, things that I've been trying to explain to people. And hopefully you guys will actually share this and let people know about this. This right here would be Nemesis, our second sun. And this would be representation of Nibiru, a planet that goes around our second sun. And it is well known. You can actually Google for yourself and look up images for the Nemesis star system, and you'll see Nemesis, and you'll see the different planets that are there. Now, how could they possibly tell the entire world that this thing is coming without people panicking and freaking out? It would be called soft disclosure. Okay? They tell us in movies. Star Trek, Nemesis. And it's a fabulous movie. I recommend people go and watch it. Well, how else could they tell us? In Star Wars, two suns. This is a very popular scene from Star Wars. Here's Luke Skywalker standing in the desert watching two suns. Our sun, which is more of a whitish yellow, and then Nemesis being more of a red dwarf star. Isn't that interesting that they would do it that way? Just saying. You can go on YouTube, or not just YouTube, but you can go on Google, DuckDuckGo, Brave, whichever one you want to look at. And you can literally type in two suns setting and go to images, and this is the stuff that you will see. They're all over the place. It's not, and people are seeing this everywhere. It's not just a made-up myth. It's something that's very real. People are seeing it with their own two eyes, capturing it on their phones, sometimes on GoPros, but a lot of people are using their cell phones and capturing this. And it's quite interesting. It's something that should be looked at. Now, how else could they tell us besides in movies? Well, what if I told you that they put it right in front of your face, folks? MasterCard logo, our sun, our second sun. It's quite interesting, don't you think? Now, here's another thing. Here's the orbit of Nemesis around our sun. In fact, let's just go right here to it, shall we? Blow this up for you. So this is our main star, Sol, and then you've got Nemesis. See how it's more of a red? It's dimmer than our sun, so it's red, and you can see its orbit. You got Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, Venus, Mars, Mercury. Of course you can't really see Mercury. He's probably behind the sun, but it's right here. But what if I told you that they put it on your money? That's right. Literally on money for us to look at. Right here. So you got the sun here, Mercury, Venus, Earth, with the moon right here. Let me zoom in on it for you. Here we go. So right here, sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Look at that. Jupiter and Saturn. And then you've got this here coming around. Well, what is this guy right here? Isn't that what I just showed you guys? It makes a lot of sense to me, but hey, that's just me. Now, getting back to Star Trek, another movie where they tell us, and they're very famous for telling us things in Star Trek. This right here is the planet of Nibiru in the movie Star Trek. But these people, they're an indigenous species. And remember the indigenous species part, because we'll get back to that here in a minute. But what happens is that they actually end up seeing the ship as it's coming out. And they worship, they make a drawing in the sand of the symbol, and they worship the symbol. Well, what if I told you that that happens here, on our own planet? I mean, it's happened. They're depicting it here. It happens right now, currently. I mean, look at what happened with the Native Americans when the Colombians and the Spanish arrived with their big white ships with the big white sails with with their beards. They remember what the Nibirians looked like, or also known as the Anunnaki, and they worshipped them, gave them whatever they asked for, whatever they wanted. It was easy for them to be controlled and dominated because they thought they were gods. Think about that for a minute, folks. Here's another reference to that Star Trek movie. This one is Into Darkness, the one with Nibiru. You guys notice here on the ground, you've got all these hexagons. The whole thing that they step on is hexagons. Does anybody know what that's in reference to? Saturn. The hexagon on the top of Saturn, the North Pole. Do you guys see that? It is a Saturn reference. Well, what does that lead to? Saturn worship. There are people that are worshiping Saturn. Saturn worship. Resurrected Roman Empire 9/11 built within the cube. Saturn worship. Cube worship. 8 points of time and space. Symbolism of the pointed star, all the same, just different names. Throughout history, Star of Ishtar, Seal of Melchizedek, etc. The snake eating itself. Once again, serpent reference with the Roman Empire, with the Vatican. Sands of time. Now, funny thing about the cube, check this out. If you go take a point and you draw from here to here to here and across, what is that? That's a triangle. And you do the same again from here to here to here and to here. You have an upside down triangle. So what would that look like put together? Look like this. That's right. Star of David. Jewish. Look at this. It all connects together, right back to the Sumerians and the Anunnaki or the Nibirians. This is all tied to them, folks. 100%. There's no way around it. Look at the back of the US dollar bill. Star of David, right here. That's right. It's annoying, but it's true. So what can we do, right? We can start waking up. We can start showing people about this. Look, notice how they got this perfect little cube in here. Now, Something else to touch on. Now, you remember the indigenous species of Nibiru that I was telling you guys about? What if this is the flipped? We are the indigenous species that needs that soft disclosure. Imagine being alive 10,000 years ago and you see an object and then you begin to worship the object or the shape of it, the design of it, because you would look at them and revere them as gods. Wouldn't that make sense with Mecca? With this gigantic cube that they worship and go around? And also with Christianity, the cross? If you were to take a cross and fold it up, does anybody know what shape it makes? That's right, a cube. So here's more of in our face. This is where the World Trade Centers were. The two towers. The twin towers. And they have two dots right in the middle. Snake eyes. Serpent eyes. Yeah. Don't get me started with 9/11. For crying out loud. Look at this. The Masonic Keystone. Looks pretty close to me. And look at this. Once again, Freemasons. Star of David. The cube. The hexagon in the middle. I mean, it just goes on and on, folks. I mean, where does it stop? Here's another one here for you. Black cubes of Saturn. Santa Ana, Manhattan, Denmark, Australia. Folks, they're everywhere. And they put it in movies. I mean, anybody remember this one? Here's Loki. What's he holding? Lightning, energy, power. Oh, look. Got the golden ratio out of the middle. Isn't that something? This is the Tesseract. Where else do they tell us in movies? Oh, yeah. Star Wars. Or, excuse me, Transformers. Look at that. Another cube. Now, if you guys remember my little snippet on the Hoover Dam with the archangels sitting on blackboard cubes pointing up. Oh, wait a minute. Where was the Allspark at? Oh, yeah. The Hoover Dam. They're telling you, folks, putting it in our faces. Borg cube. Going back to Star Trek. And you will be assimilated. We are the Borg. Resistance is futile. Transhumanism. The human mind melding with the machine. Do we not see that going on today, folks? Is there not a big push for that AI, artificial intelligence? Yeah, I would say so. Here's another reference to Star Trek from Into Darkness when they were on the planet of Nibiru. Here's the ship coming out of the water. This is the Star Trek Enterprise. Now, I see two different things here. Number one, our own government, the United States government, has come forth and mentioned that there are submarine phenomenon, basically underwater phenomenon that can move just as fast as if they were in the air. So here's a ship being under the water, so something we should be looking for, number one. And number two, with it coming out of the water, it would make what? Waves. Letting us know. Stuff's going on, folks, and we need to open our eyes. We need to start recognizing that movies originated back in Rome when they would stand in front of crowds of people and people would act. Actors. They would act out a scene from a battle or from a diplomatic situation that happened in another land. That's what movies are, where they tell us truth. We think it as entertainment, but when you break down the word entertainment, enter, to entertain, to trap, meant your mind. To enter and trap your mind. Entertainment. It doesn't quite mean what we think it does it? One of the other things that can cause the poles to flip, if we happen to get a large enough asteroid, That's why I watch space weather. Space weather a lot. Spaceweather.com. They let us know about things that are coming near Earth. We get a large enough strike, yeah, it could definitely flip our poles. Guess what else can? Coronal mass ejection, especially a powerful one like that. With our poles on the move and our geomagnetic field being weaker, more prone to a push. It's imperative, folks. That's why I do solar weather. That's why I do forecasting. I watch for it. I want to see how dense they are. I want to see if they're going to hit us, if they're going to go below us, if it's be a glancing blow. I'm not always 100% accurate. But you know what? At least I'm trying. I'm out here trying to see what's coming at us. Like you see with this halo here on Lasco C2 back in 2013. That's when I started noticing a bunch of friends, UFOs, spaceships, and I've been exposing them to you guys. Letting you know, hey, they're out there. Because I've been watching for Nemesis and Nibiru, asteroids. And that's how I started seeing friends, and more things opened my eyes. Folks, by all means, share this around. If it's opened your eyes, show it to people. Let people know. Post it on your social media. Let people know that things are really happening and that we really live in a Star Trek reality and that we are the indigenous species that needs soft disclosure. How can we start seeing some of these effects here on Earth? Well, that's why I follow Earthquakes and Volcanoes Discovery, because they let you know of all of the earthquakes and the volcanoes that are currently erupting. I mean, I know that most of you I'm sure have heard by now about this massive earthquake that happened over here in Mexico. Just yesterday, 7.7. It was actually an 8.2 or 8.1, and they just keep downgrading it depending on which agency you're looking at, whether it be USGS, or Mexico, or these guys. I mean, it depends on where it was, the magnitude, and what it got downgraded to instead of where it was originally decided at. Well, a lot of people also don't know that when Mr. Richter, who developed the Richter scale, when he died, it was literally globally accepted to downgrade everything by 1 full point. So this wasn't necessarily a 7.7. It was an 8.7. Think about that. Why did they do that? Because they don't want people to panic. And with this one also, there was a tsunami buoy that was the station that was going off. In fact, right here. It's right here, still going off. Right here. Even though they said that there was no tsunami threat, well, okay, there may not have been, but you can still see it, the strike right here. You can come down here, view details, scroll down, and here it is. We can see where it happened. But I'll digress from that for a moment. Coming back over here, look at all of them, and a lot of them are along the tectonic plates. The Earth is moving, it's shifting, it's grumbling. She's not happy. There's another magnetic force coming into our solar system, causing a lot of magnetic anomalies, things to happen. People are getting strange pictures of clouds and looking. We see the second sun. Hearing strange sounds going on outside. Almost sounds like a siren. Well, it's the sound of our Earth's geomagnetic field opening, cracking, moving. And what do you get with that? A lot of this. This stuff happens. This one here, we just had right over here. 6.0 in Russia. Now, it doesn't show here any earthquakes in the New York area. However, guess what? There's a buoy going off right over here in New York. It's been going off since yesterday. Here's the strike. Now, why would that be, folks? I can't explain it. But there was definitely a strike. Was it maybe one of those ships coming up out of the water, causing it to go up and down like that? It's hard saying. Pardon me. But either way, a lot of strangeties going on. Wouldn't you agree? So I'm always watching this to see upticks. Now, this is just within the last 2 days, of course, but there's always upticks, and we're going to be seeing them. There's going to be more earthquakes. They're going to be more severe. More volcanoes are going to be erupting, and they're going to be more severe. They've been watching things going on in Yellowstone, and they're noticing a rising in the soil. It's actually elevating. It's starting to swell. But nobody mentions Wawa Springs caldera, which is another large one that I'm more concerned about than Yellowstone, believe it or not. Mexico. Tsunami threat passes. I mean, these things are all, you can always come look them up. Taiwan, 6.8. This was just a couple days ago. Major in Taiwan. Those poor people. I did a little catch up on that. Well, what else comes with that? Hurricanes. That's right. We've got hurricane. It is hurricane season right here for the U.S. and they're coming. And this is what they've predicted so far. What they're expecting to happen. Now, I can understand recognizing patterns and algorithms of the Earth, but what if these are being controlled through some form of weather manipulation? Lots of us are very familiar with that. I'm sure most of you know about this. The chemtrails, or cloud seeding, as they want to call it, it affects every bit of this. And it can give us tons of floods. Flooding is happening all over the world, folks. And I mean all over the world. Has anybody not looked at that stuff yet? It's something to look at. I mean, for crying out loud. Let's just scroll down here. All I did was put in flooding, and you can start looking down and seeing where it's been happening, how bad it's been. Rhode Island, Georgia, Pakistan, Russia, China. It's been happening everywhere, folks. Please start paying attention. You're going to start seeing more and more signs of things happening. And it's going to, I mean, so many places have had their 1,000-year flood more than one time this year. I mean, folks, it's getting bad. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has been without power. Why? Because of the hurricane. All of Puerto Rico, again. And this is not new. I mean, they went through this not too long ago. The whole daggum place was without power. This is a U.S. territory. It's all because of a hurricane. Here's another thing to consider. Average solar day length. Folks, we are losing time. The Earth is speeding up. It is spinning faster. That means, why would that happen? Well, that means something else is in our solar system. Think about two magnetic forces, two suns, positive and negative polarity, spinning around like an alternator. It would make planets speed up. It would make your poles get hotter, like that's already happened on Pluto. It's happened for Neptune. Uranus, same thing. Like their south poles are getting hotter. This is something that you can look up for yourself and notice. And you'll go, what? Well, that's because it's here. It's not too far away. I can't give you an exact time frame, but I know it should happen by around 2040. That's my personal prediction, my feeling. So is it too difficult now to actually imagine that there is an alien species among us, that they've been here? Look at his eyes. Prince Charles, even though I guess they crowned him king, whatever. I don't know. Didn't pay attention to it. I don't care. Prince Charles, old sausage fingers. Look at that slant in his eyes. Just like his mama. Ain't that interesting? How many people knew about this? Is it really difficult to imagine? I mean, was Men in Black telling us something, that they're among us? They live among us. Lots of them are quiet and they just want to live peaceful lives, but some of them not so much. I mean, we know we're not alone in the universe. That's a known fact. That's truth. So why would it be difficult to accept that they're already here and they have been for a long time? And what if some of them have an evil agenda? What if they're trying to control us and poison us? Look at this. That looks like a tag of a mosquito. Look at that. Man-made? Made by another being. Don't look like a regular mosquito to me, folks. Things are going on, and it ain't pretty. Now, do remember, folks, there is a lot of beauty in this world, so make sure that you are watching it. It's not all ugly. There's a lot of beautiful things that we can see. Take time to watch it, to look at it, pay attention to all the things. Not just looking at the bad, but also at the good. Recognize the duality. I mean, can we really recognize the beauty that we have if we don't recognize the darkness? How many times have we heard you don't realize a good thing until it's gone? Well, how do you know what a good thing is if you don't know what a bad thing is? So look around you. See what's there. Don't just look on the surface, but try to imagine what's beneath it. You might be surprised at some of the beautiful things that you see. So remember, folks, keep your eyes open, no fear, and remember that love is the only way forward.